So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Michael, about let's talk about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Obviously, you were born in Ukraine.
Lvov.
And
Lviv, I guess now.
Lviv, yeah. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. What's going on? You know, Russia said they were going to shut off. So here's the big news: Russia threatened to shut off gas to Europe unless they opened bank accounts that would hold their currency, U.S. dollars and euro, which would then do an exchange for rubles. And April 1st came, and Putin did nothing. Like a whiny little bitch. He failed to uphold his own threat against these nations. So I'm curious, you know, your thoughts on what's happening.
I've been asked this more than any. This is probably the question I get asked a lot, and like people blowing up my phone. And I pride myself on trying to have an interesting perspective, or at least say something uninteresting in an interesting way. And I got nothing on Russia, Ukraine, for the very simple reason that I don't understand Putin's endgame. I don't understand how he thought this was going to end up. That I can tell you that anyone who just says he's stupid or he's crazy, that just means they don't know either. They're just using this kind of word to kind of do the work.
Well, I just assumed you knew that the spear of destiny has been buried in Western
The Holy Lance. Yeah.
So
Vladimir Putin going for the spear of destiny.
I raised like $5,000 for Ukrainian refugees. My dad he had business in Ukraine. He was on a train getting out of there, and he was seating next to some kid, and the kid kept crying, saying, "They're going to kill my dad. They're going to kill my dad." I heard this through my sister, and my dad, who I've never seen cry in my life, who was which is a big surprise looking me, kind of an ass, and not a very nice person, just like myself. For him to lose it really says a lot, which is why I was comfortable raising all that money. What is not in dispute is that millions of people fled war, understandably. And my concerns are also with the Russian population, mind you. Like the fact that someone's living in Russia, now they can't use their phone or they can't use some bank account just seems crazy to me, unless we're not talking about the high up people.
but look at what Russia is back on track.
Well, and the ruble has restored its value.
They turned McDonald's, they turned the M like sideways to make it a B, and now it's called like Uncle something.
No, it isn't. Is it
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
They've repurposed. What Joe Biden has done is he severed the ties between Russia and the West. These restaurants still exist.
Right.
The Russian supply chain still exists. So Putin basically is like going to industry and saying, get what you can. That's why Putin threatened Europe. He said, you've got to open Russian bank accounts. It's forcing Western nations to open Russian banks, propping up their financial industry or their financial sector.
As you and I mentioned a little before the show started, what they're doing is an enormous attack on the value of the dollar. Whether by design or otherwise. And if I'm a businessman and I see what happened with Canada with the trucker convoy, and I see what's happening with inflation here, and I see that my money is not going to be safe in U.S. or Western banks, I'm going to put my money elsewhere to make sure that money retains or increases in value. And that is a very dangerous, slippery slope we are going down, whether by design or otherwise.
Well, you heard the BlackRock guy saying, put your seatbelts on, it's going to get real bad. Inflation.
But I think we all knew, because one of the things that we all talked about in like early 2020, mid 2020 is you can't just shut down all industry and not have an economic like massive consequence. Like that's not a thing, or else every so often we could just be like school teachers, just not work for 3 months a year. Yeah. So at some point those chickens are going to have to come home to roost. This is not in dispute. No one doubted that.